Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Yes, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story. Oh, both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom. It was the age of foolishness. It was the epoch of belief. It was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. We had everything before us. We had nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. In short, the period was so far like the present period that some of its noisiest authorities insisted on its being received for good or for evil, in the superlative degree of comparison only.
And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, Jah kingdom goes west. We the people want to know just where we're going. Right now we hands are tied behind the rocks, while certain people if I'm button. Where do we stand? We have too far to go, not to really know just how we're getting there. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility and changeability. Violence and crime is commonplace within these said times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer to fulfillment in these dread times. Why should this be? And as we fight one another with the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we taste. Happy we own this grace, yeah. Happy we own this grace. Can't build no foundation for a if and a but. Are we building a nation or are we building a hut? And every time you ask the song, old friend, you hear say just last night he meet a sad end. And if you talk too loud, and if you walk too proud, watch where you lay your head. Borrow the dread, well the red. Can't build no dreams, and a fuss and a fight. We no care who I do it, just say that no right. And as we fight one another with the power and the glory, your kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we taste. I feel we own this grace, yeah. I feel we own this grace. Can't build no dream on a fuss and a fight. Me no care who I do it, just say that not right. And as we fight one another with the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we take. I feel we own this grace, yeah. I feel we own this grace. Can't build no dream on a fuss and a fight.
2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, and the Decade of Action for Road Safety. It's the 6th day of the 10th month of 2021, the International Year of Peace and Trust, the International Year of Creative Economy for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Fruits and Vegetables, the International Year for the Elimination of Child Labor, and the International Year of Health and Care Workers. Put another way, it's the 6th day of the 5th month of the 2021 Atlantic hurricane season, and according to the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida, significant development of a surface trough located about 200 miles east of the Florida East Coast is not anticipated due to strong upper-level winds, while it moves slowly off the southeastern United States coast through early next week. Closer to home, the trough across Jamaica is expected to stay over the island for the next few days. Expect windy conditions, especially across the south coast, due to the presence of the low-level jet stream, which is that narrow band of fast-flowing wind in the lower levels of the atmosphere. The rest of the afternoon will be cloudy with showers and thunderstorms across sections of central and western parishes. Tonight will be partly cloudy. Similar conditions are expected for tomorrow and Friday. The Ministry of Health and Wellness is reporting that investigations conducted between September 7 and October 3 revealed that 7 more people have died from the virus. 507 people are in hospital. Last year, this time, that number was 140. 67 of them are severely ill. 107 moderately ill. In fact, last year, this time, 39 people were moderately ill and 12 were in critical condition. Fast forward to 2021, and 107 are moderately ill and 34 in critical condition. With 98 newly confirmed cases in the past 24 hours, and this is not far from the number last year this time. Last year this time, we had 97 newly confirmed cases in the past 24 hours. Jamaica's COVID-19 tally now stands at 85,261. Last year this time, that figure was 7,109. 29,070 of the 85,261 confirmed cases are active cases. Last year, this time, 4,216 of the 7,109 were active cases. For what it's worth, 122 more people have recovered from COVID-19, pushing the total number of recoveries to 53,660. Please visit moh.gov.jm for more information. Our thoughts and prayers remain with those laid low by the coronavirus. Let's continue to wear our masks, wash or sanitize our hands as often as possible, avoid touching our face with unclean hands, and keep our distance of at least 6 feet. And of course, the opportunity is available to take the vaccine to minimize the likelihood of severe illness and or hospitalization. The month of October is being observed as Jamaica Red Cross Month, Lupus Awareness Month, Breast Cancer Awareness Month, Oral Health Month, Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, National Egg Month, National Manufacturers Month, National Heritage Month, Correctional Services Month, Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and we'll tell you more in just a moment.
Right now,
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15.
The Caribbean Maritime University, an ISO certified institution, offers Bachelor of Science degrees in cruise shipping, logistics, engineering, marine tourism, port management, security administration, and management, among others. For further information, contact them 876-924-8150 or 924-8175 or email info@cmu.edu.jm.
Are you an exporter, a micro, small, or medium-sized enterprise engaged in primary production or manufacturing? Do you want to learn more about the incentives available to the productive sectors? Then join the Jamaica Customs Agency and other entities for an online public forum on incentives and productive inputs relief on Thursday, October 14, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, under the theme Incentives and Productive Inputs Relief. Who stands to benefit? Log on at www.jacustoms.gov.jm to register and take your business to the next level. That's the Jamaica Customs Agency's CCC online series. Click, connect, and converse with Customs, October 14 from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. This is a forum you should not miss. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
crime is commonplace within these said times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer.
October is also Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and in the United Kingdom, the month of October is observed as Black History Month. It's International Postcard Week, and those activities continue. We're in the middle of International Postcard Week. And in fact, this is International Postcard Week because World Post Day is Saturday, the 9th of October. We're also in the middle of National Customer Service Week, which is being held under the theme, You, Me, We Got the Power of Service Excellence. In the meantime, the Jamaica Stock Exchange is celebrating its 14th annual National Investor Education Week. It's Armed Forces Day in Egypt, National German-American Day, and Physician Assistant Day in the USA. The anniversary of the October Revolution War is being commemorated in Syria, and it's Remembrance Day in Turkmenistan. Hoy es miércoles el 6 de octubre 2021 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado. porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir both sides of the story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos.
And every drop of blood we take, I feel we own this grace, yeah. I feel we own this grace. Can build no dream on a fuss and a fight.
C'est mercredi le 6 octobre 2021 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme allant de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
Just how we're getting near. And if we're getting anywhere, we have too much to change, not to know the range of possibility and changeability.
All we're saying is it's Wednesday, the 6th of October, 2021, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
Can't build no foundation for a if and a but. Are we building a nation or are we building a hut? And every time you ask with some old friend, you hear say just last night he meet a sad friend. And if you talk too loud and if you walk too proud, watch where you lay your head.
Good afternoon to those listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Morant Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point, this is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, downloadable from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free. Listening is free whenever, wherever. We thank you if you've logged on to the Gleaner's website, go-jamaica.com. Subscribers to onespotmedia.com also have access to both sides of the story in particular and Power 106 FM in general. Welcome if you have dialed a number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. If you're not there yet, here are the numbers. Those in the United States who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631-359-8281. 631-359-8281. And if you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, your number is 0330-606-0953. 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook. In the search box atop the page, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. If you don't have a Facebook account, well, there's always YouTube. You'll need a smartphone or a not so smartphone or a laptop or tablet computer, desktop, or otherwise known as a PC, personal computer. And then you'll need internet connection. The next step would be to open a browser like Bing, Safari, or Google Chrome. And by the time you start typing YouTube, the site will come up. And if you're doing that now, you should see this video trending. If you're not seeing it, then in the YouTube search box, type DERVAN MALCOLM, and you too will be able to watch the Jamaican, well, both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. We're looking forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. The numbers to call, 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, but also your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, and indeed you can call us via WhatsApp. That number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. That one number is the text line, the WhatsApp number, where you can send your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes. It's also the number to call us via WhatsApp, at least whenever I'm on. And also the number that some people use as a straight line. So you dial direct and you get to speak with us on this side of the glass. So there are options. You've got options, as the song says. Let's start off as usual by telling you that we started this afternoon with a tale, that most famous piece from A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. And in addition to that, we obviously completed the package with Ernie Smith's We the People, the Power and the Glory. A timeless masterpiece by Ernie Smith. Timeless, ageless, and as we said, a masterpiece. Let's greet those who have joined us. Audrey Smith in Southampton in England says, good afternoon, Dervan and listeners. Happy Wednesday to you and all the 106 FM crew. Looking forward to another edition, I'm sure you mean edition, to Both Sides of the Story. It's always a joy listening to you and all the updates in Jamaica. Stay safe, everyone, and take care, says Audrey Smith in Southampton, England. Golden Brown says, good afternoon, Teach. To you too, Golden Brown. Sophia Davis Fagan says, thank God for your show, Dervan. We don't get those great songs here. Happy Wednesday to you. Happy to oblige and happy to have you on board, Sophia Davis Fagan. Jacqueline Simmons, good afternoon and blessings to you too. Thank you very much for making it Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. DeAndre Blackwood says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. To you too, DeAndre Blackwood. And DeAndre Blackwood says, my radio is not connecting to Power 106. I have to be using my phone and laptop I'm in Pepin, St. Andrew area. We're sorry to hear that. We'll share your message with the technicians, the engineers, and hopefully that will be resolved. Simon is also telling us good afternoon on the YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to you too. Gaveth Peterson is in southern New Jersey and she joins us. Good afternoon, Gaveth Peterson in southern New Jersey. Good to have you on board both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. The lines are open 876 922 4112 to 5. Let's take a few seconds of this call before we take the break. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Mr. Coombs.
Good afternoon. Last week I heard yourself there was making Phillips TV in 1968, but I don't know where. But down by Spanish Town Road, between Coca-Cola and IGL, there was a place down here where about lots of women, you female you saw earlier. So they might assemble TV parts or something in the 60s, the same time what you talk about. So
one moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30. Our family and friends are a big part of who we are. And when it comes to keeping you connected to them, Grace Kennedy Money Services Western Union makes it safer and easier. Now friends and family overseas can use the Western Union app or westernunion.com to send money directly to your bank account without leaving home. Receive a Western Union money transfer directly into your bank account with a direct-to-bank service. Register online at gkmsonline.com and share your banking details with your sender so you don't have to leave home to collect.
The National Irrigation Commission Limited encourages efficient irrigation practices and responsible use of water. By doing so, we will allow the aquifer to be recharged and keep the supply flowing. A message from the National Irrigation Commission Limited. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Living in the positive.
Power Talk on Power 106 FM, finding solutions to the challenges we face in a globalized world. Power Talk, taking talk radio to another level. Join Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays and Simon Croskill from Wednesday to Friday as they provide riveting analysis on the issues of the day and speak with stakeholders charged with driving innovation to move Jamaica forward. Tune in for innovative features designed to showcase local developments and highlight how the global issues of the 21st century are being addressed. That's the powerful pair, Dr. Herbert Gale and Simon Croskill on Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays, right here on Power 106 FM.
And as we fight one another with the power and the glory.
Yes, Mr. Coombs.
Yeah, the TV thing, them was assembling that down here, so I don't know what them used to do. But anyway, you say some time ago in the 17th century, the 18th century, there's someone say Jamaica have everything, but you never have plenty cow. I wasn't around them time, but it's true. I believe, since I born, you was saying me, you have pure cow, you know. You should plow the land, them and carry the banana, them to the railway station and carry the cane to the factory. So, a pure cow. In 1966, 53, when Sir Michel Boniface says, the Queen Bodyguard, the King Bodyguard, and by the tractor and things. But it was pure cow, we used to plow the land, plant the kill and everything. So, when I was talking about China root and that, but tell you, Sassapella, you know, when I was the boy about 4 or 5, a man named Mr. Roper, used to plant Sassapella, he come like Yambi like first. I never see it. It was like every 3 months. 2-3 bags of sassafras, I never know, but I'm a little bit. But one man says to me, come go and see it, but since we late, everything changed. But what I'm saying now, the way at Trenchtown, how deep is it? 200 feet?
The what?
The other way they said, that Trenchtown.
No, I'm sorry, Mr. Coombs. I don't walk around with those numbers in my head.
No, but if you mention something, right, I believe it's at 200 feet.
Mr. Coombs, Mr. Coombs,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Come on, do better than that, please.
Go ahead. But I believe it's a 200 feet. Which partner Jamaica man can do 200 feet? What machine can do 200 feet? You see, look at the radio. You like talk something, but when people question you, you say no, you know what say.
Mr. Coombs, it's not my information, and this is the second time you're coming with that, Mr. Coombs. Mr. Coombs, please. Mr. Coombs,
yeah.
Mr. Coombs, you're very well known right across Jamaica and the world. Come on, the world is listening, please.
Yeah, the world is listening.
All right, please.
1944 hurricane.
Please.
1944 storm. I just 77 years, and you can't find what date it was. And me a big man who say either 20 or 29. Somebody look it up for me. One person tell me 29, one tell me 20. And you know from 18th century, and you can't find that for me, Mr. Malcolm. Please?
Mr. Coombs. Mr. Coombs.
I listen you.
Mr. Coombs, please. That's all I'm saying. You're a big man. You could be my great-great-grandfather. So let's just leave it at that, please.
No, leave it at that. You know things like, you don't like nobody question you.
Mr. Coombs.
You don't like nobody question you. Have a good day.
This is the same Mr. Coombs who came here with misinformation about how the parish of Westmoreland came about and how the parish of Manchester of Hanover came about. Come on, Mr. Coombs. Please. I've noticed that ever since that time when we had to shut down the false information that you brought here, you have since come out. You're trying to make a comeback. Mr. Coombs, you were wrong on that occasion and you're still wrong. So no amount of fabrication, as you did back then, fabricating the history of Westmoreland and Hanover. It's most unbecoming of you, Mr. Coombs. Please. Thank you for the call. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, well, it's good to know that you correct those people and put them on the spot that come with information that are not factual. They may feel offended, but that is the right thing to do. Let other people hear it and figure to be factual and carry it further to be the gospel truth.
Yes.
And with age, one should become wiser.
That's why I'm saying to him. That's why I was reminding him that he could be my great-great-grandfather. He's still not getting it.
Yeah, because you are rather diplomatic in that you don't want to insult him, so you are just telling him you're feeling in a nice form, but he has difficulty in comprehending. Anyway, what I'd like to talk about, you know that basically the high cost of living affects everybody.
Yes.
And when the people hear that shipping cost is going up and they must prepare for increase in the price of things in Christmas, then the people get glum.
People get what?
Glum.
Glum. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, genuine.
Yes.
That remains sad. So they can't be optimistic that they are going to enjoy a prosperous Christmas. But I noticed that the Minister of Finance has decided to increase interest rate and has come in for the flack from some people in the private sector. But our interest rate is nothing new because you remember that was the policy pursued by Omar Davis?
Yes.
And basically, you know in economics that high interest rate is a map of liquidity because inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. So you need to get rid of some of the money in circulation in order to keep down the rate of inflation in terms of price increase. So although you have a government that is pro-capitalism rather than the communist administration that we have in the 70s, where you had things like price control officers that the IMF forced us to abandon, it don't mean that we're going to run roughshod upon the poor people of this country. They have to be given some form of protection. So,
yeah, well, any government anywhere in the world would have to provide protection for the most vulnerable. That's one of the duties, one of the responsibilities, one of the expectations of a government, that you protect the most vulnerable. Yes, indeed, you protect everyone, but even more so the most vulnerable in the society, so that you help them to cushion whatever blow is coming to them.
And you know that the COVID virus has affected our economy significantly, especially the tourism sector, which is just merely trying to grow, but it has hit agriculture significantly. And the majority of the people have come in for pressure. So they need some leeway in order to cope, because we cannot run with it like what we had at Meadowbrook. We have to live within our means, and we cannot spend what we don't have. So nothing is wrong with high interest rate at the present time, but we cannot keep it for a lengthy period of time because it affects forward planning. Next thing, pertaining to the virus that we have out here, there is propaganda run by social media, whereby some of them are out here telling the people that the Prime Minister don't take the vaccine, that it was a sham. But what I would like the Prime Minister to do is to go to Parliament and ask every member of Parliament to indicate to the clerk of the House whether they have taken the vaccine or not, and to present your vaccine certificate.
To what avail?
Then we will know who has taken the vaccine or who have not taken it.
And how will that affect the price of milk?
No, it's not going to affect the price of milk. I'm just moving from the cost of living situation and measures imposed by the finance minister. Income and debt are moving on to the major problem that we face now, which is how are we going to deal with the virus in order to make the people safer? Because the tune that you played at the beginning of the program, that as we fight one another for the power and the glory, your kingdom goes to waste. That song was composed due to political violence at that time.
I'm quite familiar, yes.
Whereby people from both parties kill one another, whether with gun or arson or whatever the sort. But crime and violence still remain a significant problem within our country. So we have to try and tame that monster. And it's not only crime and violence that affect us at the present time. We have 3 C's out here that affect us significantly. We have the crime, we have the COVID virus, and we have corruption. And none of them are new. But what we need to do is to bend the cat. And people who go foul of the law and do things inimical to the development of this country should be dealt with in no uncertain form. What do you say pertaining to that?
Well, this is still a country governed by laws, and the rule of law must take precedence.
Yeah, well, I believe in that. But the biggest problem that we have now, the COVID, it is even more difficult to deal with than the crime. Because it's easier to identify the criminal through intelligence. But right now, with the COVID, you have people claim to be intelligent who are major perpetrators of propaganda out here. And one of the biggest problems that we have is social media, because any devil can put information on internet and phone and the things of the sort. So many of the things that people come and tell you that they know, they have not done any actual researches if somebody fix them in order to carry propaganda further. They are like robots being used as a tool and pawn in a dirty game that certain people expect to reap big reward at the end of the day.
Well, this is why it's always important to get the accurate factual information out there first. If you are late in getting that information out there and communicating that information effectively, then you will always be playing catch up. So that is a consideration, because people are going to run with whatever appears to be popular or whatever sets them apart from someone else or some other group of people or everybody else. People will gravitate towards that. So the onus would be on those with the factual information, the leaders in the field of sciences, in the field of medicine, to put the facts out there, the unvarnished truth, and back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
one moment, please. We're up on the break. One moment, please.
We no care who I do it, just say that no right. And as we fight one another with the power and the glory.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Business leaders, do you need real solutions to get out of this crisis? This is it. It's time to step into leadership and get the answers from the experts. Register now for Live to Lead Jamaica, Friday, October 8th, 2021 at the Terra Nova Hotel, featuring the #1 leadership guru, John C. Maxwell, Jamie Kern Lima, Ed Milet, and many more. Get your tickets at livetoleadjamaica.com or call 876-438-1135. Live to Lead Jamaica is sponsored by RJR Gleaner Group, AV Concepts, Print Digital, Intentional Growth LLC, and Creative Brands and Concepts.
Top graduate in English, Shakir Matthews. Yes, I might be up with that.
What's new with you? PATH needs to know if your child is starting primary or secondary school so that you can continue to receive your benefits, including a nutritious lunch for your child.
You don't believe you are graduate. You just remember to tell the PATH people about our new school, you see?
Visit or call the Ministry of Labor and Social Security PATH Parish Office. We need to know so your child can grow with PATH. Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to midday for your Legal Corner with Dahlia Walker Huntington during Power Talk on Power 106 FM. You can call our numbers 876-922-4112-5. The text and WhatsApp line is 876-279-8598. You can also send an email at yourlegalcorner106@gmail.com. Join Your Legal Corner for all matters in relation to immigration to the United States. Here, Dahlia offer great legal advice on your immigration queries and concerns. Learn about the filing process, when to file, and how to prepare for the move. That's Your Legal Corner, 11:30 to midday, every Thursday, right here on Power 106 FM.
The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, with the added danger of variants, has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others. And on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. Brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up now. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. The storm's getting treated. Just said, don't you worry.
Me no care who I do it, just say that not right. And as we fight one another.
Hello?
Yes,
Thanks.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah, as I was saying, when I told you about the roll call to find out those ministers, those MPs, whether they were vaccinated or not, you know why I bring it up?
Why?
In the House Appropriation Committee yesterday, where Mrs. Holder said that there was misallocation of vaccine while we had the Pfizer that should have been given to children, given to adults when there is the other vaccine that could have been presented to the adults. And then we have 58,000 vaccines being destroyed because of the expiry date. And she went on to say when they met today that $200 million were given to MPs and councillors for mobilization to get people to be vaccinated. And Mr. Phil Jackson said that he supports the vaccination program.
Mr. Fitzjackson.
And the support of MPs in the program. But he went on to say that although the politicians are in contact with the people, there is a period between the election and nomination there when they need to plan. So we need coordination. And I would support that we need coordination and we need to plan properly. But for you to have MPs and councillors as ambassadors to implore upon people the importance of being vaccinated, they should set an example. Because one of the problems we have is the lack of trust on the part of the citizenry where politicians are concerned. So their pronouncement should be matched by actual presentation of data to show that they are genuine by their action in what they are proposing the people to embark on.
Why wouldn't they be genuine?
Huh?
Why wouldn't they be genuine?
If any one of them turn out to be not vaccinated, then the people will be the judge. Because the Prime Minister once said today that she and her husband were vaccinated. And I tell you that there is propaganda out here pushed by opposition that the Prime Minister took no vaccination. It was a sham.
No, but they...
And I am certain that you would have seen that on social media.
But to say that the opposition was pushing that, I mean, really, this was people who doctored the recording of the vaccination, and which is every day. It's on social media every day. People do all kind of things and to get across a message. How would you come to the conclusion that the opposition was pushing that? There's no evidence of that.
Normal opposition is people that vote for the opposing party. Because it is not only the members of parliament or council that are opposition, you know. And it's not only the anti-vaccine people are against people taking vaccine. People have agenda that they want to succeed irrespective of the methodology that is going to be used. So what we need is genuine action and proof on the part of people who are supposed to be ambassadors.
Yeah, well, we'll see where that takes us.
Yeah, and taxpayers' money is involved, so we need value for money.
Involved in what?
In terms of what is being presented to MP and councillors in order to mobilize the people to take the vaccine. And I would even go further and ask that figures be presented as to what percentage of the various constituencies have actually been vaccinated. Because they say that
you would need that for the entire country and for all 63 members of parliament.
All 63, because they claim that they get information from Statin and SEC in terms of constituency side. So they have information at their disposal to present a true picture to allow the people to judge as to what actually giving value for money or near value, and who are involved in collection and not performance.
Yeah, well, you've had your opportunity. Thank you very much for the call.
Yeah, you have a good day.
Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, taking your calls on 876 922 4112 to 5. Let's clear a couple of messages that have come in since the last time we checked. Jeannie Chambers, good afternoon. We're seeing you. Thank you very much for joining us. All the very best to you. Take care. Jennifer Stewart from Q Road in Kencott, East Central, St. Andrew. Thank you for joining us. Anne Thornley Brown is online. She says, man, what a strong accent the last guest had. Not sure who that was. And she says, Dervan is very patient. You're very kind, Anne Thornley Brown. Oliver Masters says, after yesterday's call, Mr. Carver will overstand. Why is it that I do appreciate him and not excluding Miss Olive by any bit? Your Facebook page is surging at about now. We'll go to Power and see if it's the same, says Oliver Masters. Grace Ann Elizabeth Geddes, good afternoon to you too. Thank you very much for joining us. Straight Shooter says, good day, Dervan. You failed to correct the JLP's Jamintel earlier when he said that Jamaica was a communist country in the 70s. Or is it that you share his opinion? The records are there to show what Jamaica was or wasn't, Straight Shooter. We're not going to waste any time on that. Hortense Edwards, good afternoon to you on YouTube. Thank you very much for joining us. All the very best. Patriotic Jamaican in New York says, Mr. Malcolm, I wonder how many of your listeners are really listening to the words of this Ernie Smith song, We the People, the Power and the Glory, which is your theme song for today. I know that a nation's national anthem usually represents the traditions, dreams, aspirations, hopes, and pride of the people. But with these words reflecting so accurately the reality in Jamaica these days, I think this song would serve very appropriately as Jamaica's national anthem until things change for the better. And it really makes me sad. Well, the national anthem will remain the national anthem. We understand your sentiments. And indeed, this recording by Ernie Smith is a timeless, ageless piece. And it is indeed a masterpiece. And as relevant today as it was when it was first recorded and published. Sham White, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for joining us. Welcome. Let's go to the WhatsApp line, same as the text line, 876-365-3346. Let's bring this up. Message from, where did it go? Here we go. Sammy Joe saying, good afternoon, listening every day via Radio Garden from the UK. Stay safe, Sammy Joe. Thank you very much, Sammy Joe, for your message. All the best to you and all the other Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica in Radio Garden in the UK. All the best. Steve in Toronto, Canada, has shared with us a story. Let's see. This story was published in the Jamaica Observer, and the headline is Government Moves to Cut Renovation Delays at CRH, that's Cornwall Regional Hospital. Global firm with hospital build-out experience will serve as commissioning agent, says Tufton. An overseas company with significant experience in hospital build-out has been brought in to help manage the delay-plagued $4 billion renovation project at Cornwall Regional Hospital in Montego Bay. And we're watching the clock because we'll have to go for the break in just a moment. And the story goes on, but I think he has brought this to our attention because he says there's a gentleman mentioned or referenced who I interviewed some time ago, Gary Hamilton. You're perfectly correct. Steve, one moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
And as we fight one another with the power and the glory, your kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we taste, I feel we own this grace, yeah, I feel we own this grace. Can't build no dream, none of us and a fight. Me no care who I do it, just say that not right.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. And yes, you are correct. You are correct, Steve, in Toronto, Canada. You are correct. In fact, let's hold back the rest of that for the time being. But thank you very much for your message. And it's good to know it's a totally different team that will be taking over at Cornwall Regional, because as we have said before on this program, those who were involved in the initial stage should not be allowed to go anywhere near the Cornwall Regional Hospital. And that seems to be the plan here. Totally different team. Having said that, wasted money, wasted taxpayers' dollars. Let's see where that one will end up. Thank you very much, Steve, for bringing that to our attention. Also, another message. Where did it go? This one. Greetings, Brother Malcolm. Hope all good. My two issues: business places opening late in Jamaica. All 9 and 10 business places just are open. We actually talked about this on this program some years ago, a few years ago, because of my own experience in trying to do business in this country. I'm generally an early riser, and I love to get things done at the start of the day. And there are so many places, you're perfectly correct, that if you want to do business at 7 o'clock, you can't. If you want to do business at 8 o'clock, you can't. You have to wait until 10 or 11 o'clock for whatever reason. And in a number of instances, there is a demand. There is a demand. And what it also does, if our business people are smart, what it also does is to broaden your market so that you'll benefit from the early crowd. pardon the use of the word crowd, but let's say the early patrons. So you will have those who need to do business early, before get some things done before or after dropping off the children, depending on their situation. There are those who are on different schedules. There are those who need to get things done by a certain time, etc., etc. Now, we're not arguing for that now because we're in a different time. This is COVID-19 time, but there was a time a few years ago when we were talking about this very matter on this program, businesses that are opening, what we consider, those of us who are morning people and love to do business early, late. They open at times when we would consider as being late. One of the other things that the late Tony Lang used to advocate for is 3 8-hour shifts in Jamaica, 3 8-hour shifts, instead of shutting down factories at a certain time, etc. 3 8-hour shifts. Now, naturally, a lot depends on the market, demand and supply and all of these things. But the point is convenience and catering to virtually everybody. Morning people, mid-morning people, afternoon people, evening people, night people, what's the other term? Nocturnal people, etc. And it's one way to increase employment or to sustain employment, and also, well, there's so many ways to look at it. But how did we get there? The message. Let's get back to the message. Right. So the person says two issues: business places opening too late in Jamaica. All 9 and 10 business places just are open. Put phone numbers to call, and when the phone not answer by someone, it answer by machine. That's not business-like. Call for a long time, no answer, and minimum wages need to go up. Oh, you're changing the subject now. Hold on. So let's finish the one about, that is true. People put their business numbers out there and you call, and whether not necessarily outside of business hours, but invariably within business hours, and you have a difficulty getting through. That is true. We've experienced that. And right, so the next, so this is a new topic now. The person says, no, for a long time, no answer. Well, that's the same calling thing. And the minimum wages need to go up. So that's the other part of the message. Minimum wages need to go up. Over 3 years, nobody get a top up on their pay to try keep our heads above the water. Every day, everything go up. Not getting an increase. Not encourage people to work. Thank you for that other half of the message. The subject of the minimum wage will always be a moot, what they call a moot one, MOOT, because it has implications on both sides, meaning those who, for example, can afford to have a household assistant, otherwise known as a helper, or a babysitter, etc. Invariably, you have a large number of those within the what we call the just above the lower class. I'm reluctant to say the middle class because we have some issues there as to the nature and extent of the middle class that we have in Jamaica. But invariably, let's say working young working people who have children and needing to pay for the services of a babysitter or a household assistant, when that rate goes up, when the minimum wage rate goes up, it has implications for that group of individuals as well. Having said that, there's no question that the minimum wage is pretty low. It's pretty low. In fact, Jamaica's if you compare Jamaica with other countries, you'll find that earnings here are pretty low. And some people argue, well, yes, for those who qualify themselves are able to create opportunities for themselves or walk into job opportunities because they have so prepared themselves, as opposed to a significant number of our people. If you check the stats, and the first time I heard those stats was from whoever was the executive director of Heart Trust NTA some years ago, that a significant number of our people or the people in our labor force, and we have a labor force of about 1.2 plus million people. I think it's closer to 1.3 now. I have to double check, but somewhere hovering between 1.2 and 1.3 million. A significant number of those within that labor force have no form of certification or training, no formal certification or training. And when we find ourselves in that position, sadly, people pay we what them think we deserve, to put it in straight Jamaican parlance. People pay you what them think you deserve, or because you don't have the training or specialist training or of a formal level, etc. Them just give you money, as we say in Jamaican parlance. And it has implications for a lot of our tradesmen and women, because you're a plumber and you don't know what the general rates are. Where are the standards as to how much a plumber, what's the market rate a plumber should charge for changing the ball and chain? For that, I don't think anybody uses that anymore. But for argument's sake, to change out that system, or to add a filter to your piping system, there are no standards. So somebody just charge you money, as we say in Jamaican parlance. So that needs to be tidied up. It needs to be tidied up, and that's a part of it. So a lot of people, there are the statistics show that what's the number? There is the number of Jamaicans who are earning minimum wage or below minimum wage. It's a significant number. And therefore, what we have to work on now is upskilling ourselves and upskilling our people and raising the levels, in terms of the quality of the work and the remuneration that comes with that. It's deeper. It runs deeper than that, than just increasing the minimum wage for the sake of increasing the minimum wage. There's a lot more that needs to be done that will raise the standards of our people, the living standards. That's going to take some time. And because we've wasted so much time as a country and as a people over these almost 60 years, when you're 59, you're pretty much looking at retirement. And it means ideally you should have or would have established yourself and your brand and had some significant achievements at that level where you can now take it easy and not going at the same pace that you were 40 years ago. So it's a broader discussion that we need to engage in. But for the time being, as I always say, we have to stop the bleeding, wherever that bleeding is. If people are hungry, they need to get food. If the patient is bleeding, we need to stop the bleeding. If people are underserved, we need to stop that slide, and so on. So we need to do what we have to do, what we need to do right now. But we really need to get better, even at this late stage in our life, in our country's life. If we were to use human years of 60, it's late in the day. I mean, who starts a pension plan at 60? You get the picture. But let's do what we can while we can. Deal with the immediate, but we must be more forward looking in how we plan and organize and strategize for this country, or on behalf of this country, so that generations to come won't have to experience what we are experiencing now, and perhaps will continue to experience for some time to come.
And every time you ask with some old friend.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
Sweet dreams are made of these.
Let's go clubbing as Fame Frequency presents Club Fantasy. Alright, just dance. This Saturday, October 9. Plays to the music mixes of Fame 95 FM's DJ Narity and DJ Kevin, alongside Hits FM's DJ Xavier, while you show off your Smirnoff vodka mixes in our Zoom VIP Watch Yourself area, hosted by PressPay.
Feel the band know what was bad, get a little bro them a job, you can come get rich.
Tune into Fame Frequency Club Fantasy, live on Fame 95 FM, Hits 92 FM, RETV, One Spot Media, and on Mixcloud at Fame Frequency. That's Fame Frequency Club Fantasy, powered by Smirnoff Vodka, the world's #1 vodka. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
I can't play with my creation, get a word of my little boy. I've been saving more than I've been spending, that's what I be on. I'm a human, I'm not perfect, I know sometimes I be wrong.
To know the range of possibility and changeability. Violence and crime is commonplace within these said times. No man walk free. Prophecy come closer to fulfillment in these dread times.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live. The name is just coming to me. The gentleman who was referred to, who Steve reminded us we interviewed some time ago. It's not Gary. It's Garold. I think it is his name, Garold Hamilton. Yes, we're happy for him. He has a proven track record. Let's see what happens. Right, let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Sammy Joe says thank you, Sammy Joe, in Radio Garden, UK, for tuning in. Good to have you on board. Cuban in Georgia says good afternoon. Sir Malcolm, I agree with you that the businesses are losing 4 hours of productivity. Not good for the economy of Jamaica. Please and thanks. Thank you for your message, Cuban in Georgia. Tevin says, how would that 3 8-hour shift work, Sir D? I guess the first 8 hours would be from 4 a.m. to 12. No. It would be pretty standard, which is how it is now for those who have 24-hour operation. 2 to 10 and 10 to 6. So 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., 2 p.m. to 10 p.m., 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. Those would be the 3 shifts. Those would be the 3 shifts, Tevin. And yes, you have a different calculation. I've never seen this kind of calculation of 3 8-hour shifts. The one I'm familiar with is 6 to 2, 2 to 10, 10 to 6. That's the one I'm familiar with, Tevin. Thank you very much for your message. Of course, the big concern for those who run 24-hour operations is the crime situation in Jamaica. And that has been one of the main deterrents to those who would like to go to run their operations for 24 hours. The safety, the level of safety or lack thereof after dark in Jamaica. There is that. There's another one. Beresford, missed this one yesterday. Good afternoon, Brother Dervan. Congratulations to your guests on their good work. I lived in a Watland Daub house for a while when I was a child. Please ask what they think about using all the wasted banana and plantain trees and leaves to make some kind of fabric. This has been on my mind for some time. We'll have a couple of other representatives from that same organization on Saturday morning, Beresford. If you are up at that time between 6 and 9, you can listen out for that. We'll put your question to them. Thank you very much for your message. And let's see, who is this now? Velta Wilson in St. Thomas. Good afternoon to you. Sham White says, always spelling your name Dervin. Today, I noticed it is Dervan. Well, you got it right today, Sham White. Portia Francis says, greetings from Maryland. And her Portia is spelled Porcia. Porcia. Good to have you on board, and hello to all the other Jamaicans and friends of Jamaica in Maryland. Ann Thornley Brown says, the sad thing is when Ernie Smith released that song, he was threatened and had to leave the country. He lived in Toronto for a while and grew locks. You're perfectly correct, because I remember being in Toronto. Who was telling me now? Let's just say an old timer was giving us an idea of some of the Jamaicans who fled Jamaica for one reason or another, and where they were living, where in Canada they were living. Yeah, I remember being schooled in that regard. But I also did read, because I did some reading on Ernie Smith, and did take note of the fact that he actually ended up living in exile. Let's see. Thank you very much, Ann Thornley Brown, for the message. Let's go across to YouTube and see what's happening there. James Morgan says, hey to you too, James Morgan. And Paul Chambers says, good afternoon, brother. Top of the day to you all at Power. He says, please say hi to Abigail for me in Trout. I think you mean Trout Hall, Clarendon. Hello to Abigail in Trout Hall, Clarendon. Please pray, still in Mandeville, Jamaica. Oh, all right. Thank you for that information, Paul. Rosie Posey says, I am behind in the news. Why the change at CRH? You can Google that, Rosie Posey. There are a lot of stories written on the failure of the individuals brought together to solve the Cornwall Regional Hospital problem. That's very well documented. You can Google it. and costing a lot of money. And so we're at a point now where we're learning that a firm which has a Jamaican in the diaspora whose company is of international repute, it would appear, based on the Observer story shared with us by Steve in Toronto, Canada, that that company will be getting the contract or has been awarded the responsibility to take Cornwall Regional Hospital to a better place. Let's see how that goes. Straight Shooter says, I am so grateful that Jamaica was a communist country in the 70s so that I had the opportunity of a free high school place, including boarding. The people who should be grateful too. Well, Straight Shooter, there are those who benefit and turn back to say thanks, and there are those who benefit and they don't turn back to say thanks. And then there are those who would argue, well, why should they need to turn back to say thanks? It's a responsibility of a government in any country, anywhere in the world, to provide quality education, quality healthcare, quality safety and security, etc., etc., etc. Rose McIntosh, good afternoon to you. How are things in London? Good to have you on board. Thank you very much for joining us here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Let's see if we can share this bit of history with you before we have to break for a scheduled interview coming up in a short while. The Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, and the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce have issued a joint press release. And the heading is, "The time is now for workplace vaccine policies." Jamaica is at a critical stage. This is the press release we're reading from. Jamaica is at a critical stage in the execution of the vaccination strategy. With more than 500,000 doses currently available, the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, along with the Jamaica Chamber of Commerce, JCC, and the Jamaica Manufacturers and Exporters Association, JMEA, believe that the time is now for private sector entities to establish policies that require employees to get vaccinated. With less than 10% of the population fully vaccinated, almost 2 years into the pandemic, Jamaica is being left behind with achieving population immunity, and is putting our recovery at risk. The social and economic impact will be devastating, and the ripple effects will continue for years to come. We are firm in our position that private sector entities must ensure that we have a safe workplace where the spread of the COVID-19 virus is minimized, and therefore protecting the lives of customers, workers, and suppliers. A vaccination policy not only saves lives, it reduces disruption in businesses and sustains productivity. The PSOJ, JMEA, JCC, the Jamaica Employers Federation, JEF, and the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions in September 2021 issued a comprehensive guideline on COVID safety measures in the workplace and the relevant legal duties of the employers and the employees. The protocol recommends that employers start the process by undertaking a risk assessment to ascertain the level of risk presented in the work environment. It thereafter recommends that businesses develop vaccine policies that are suited for their respective business model and industry. noting the steps outlined in the guidelines. Special consideration may need to be given for medical or religious conditions. The general recommendation is for employees to be taken through vaccine awareness programs and given an opportunity to take the vaccine, which is now widely available. After this period of engagement and education, the employer should reassess any risks which may still exist and ensure mitigating steps are taken. This could include requesting that a COVID test is done periodically. In addition, and it goes on, it's almost finished. Let's see if we can read the rest of it. In addition to the above recommendations, we are of the view that the national problem of the low vaccination rate requires more far-reaching measures. We would encourage and support the government selectively using its powers under the DRMA, that's the Disaster Risk Management Act, to introduce incremental requirements for vaccination to protect the public, just as it has imposed other measures. A specific example would be the government implementing vaccination policies and protocols in a phased manner for the public sector, similar to what has been instituted by the private sector and unions. The association would like to remind private sector companies to utilize the resources of the private sector vaccine initiative to get credible resources and support for their vaccination awareness programs for their team members.
Class is in session. Power 106.
You contribute directly to Jamaica's national development when you pay your customs duties. Let's all do our part in keeping the wheels of our economy. Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30.
The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the added danger of variants has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others. And on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. Brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up now. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. The storm's getting traded. Just said, don't you worry.
It's your dread times. Why should this be? And as we fight one another with the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we taste. Happy we own this race, yeah. Happy we own this race. Can't build no foundation for a if and a but. Are we building a nation, or are we building a hut? And every time you ask the song, old friend, you hear say just last night we meet a sad friend. And if you talk too loud, and if you walk too proud, watch where you lay your head.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program. Both sides of the story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. And our very special guest at this time is an award-winning Jamaican-born filmmaker who has been creating waves for some time now. In fact, we haven't spoken with him in a few years from the time we learned of his work. And here we are years later. Mr. Roy T. Anderson, good afternoon. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, Dervan. It's been a while. It's been about 8 years, sir.
Yes, long time. Good to reconnect. Good to talk with you again. And I'm sure you have a lot to share with us. A lot would have happened over these 8 years, and we're anxious to hear. But first, let's bring some more Jamaicans into the loop with respect to your work and how you've been flying the Jamaican flag very high in your chosen field.
Yes, and the fact that I'm alive today is good, because I'm in a very dangerous profession as a stuntman, falling off buildings and crashing cars. So we give thanks for that. But,
let's just make it as granular as possible for those listening. So listeners, when you watch the movies and you see your favorite movie star doing all these ridiculously crazy stunts, invariably they employ a stuntman, a stunt person, somebody, a stand-in who is going to be doing all of those things. And this Jamaican, Roy T. Anderson, is one such superstar.
I would have to say, the likes of Will Smith and Denzel and Jamie Foxx got to be happy that they're not the ones that's falling down, right? It's me.
Yes, indeed. And that makes you a superstar. Yes, they're out front. You're a superstar based on that kind of work that you do. And you've been doing it for how many years now?
Believe it or not, Dervan, almost over 40 years now.
What? But you're still a young man. What are you talking about? You started as a baby.
Pretty much.
Yes. And how has it been in this time of COVID-19 in terms of your work?
There's no question that it's affected, not just everyone, but our industry as well. We were shut down from last March to about September. And then things started back up in the New York area, really, really strict protocol. And, as a matter of fact, the film industry in New York really sort of set the trend for the rest of America. We've been going pretty solid since then, and hadn't been, much outbreaks or shows being shut down. So again, we give thanks for that.
Yes. And to our listeners, obviously, Roy T. Anderson is an actor, stunt coordinator, stuntman. But more than that, he's also a writer, a director, and a filmmaker, plus the producer of 2 award-winning documentaries, Aquan 2, The Journey, 2012, and Queen Nanny, Legendary Maroon Chieftainess, 2015. And his latest project, well, before we come to the latest project, tell us what intrigued you, what caused you to produce the 2 documentaries we just mentioned in the first place. What prompted that?
I've always been curious, even as a little kid, growing up in St. Elizabeth. But these documentaries were born out of frustration. The fact that, and I think you can attest to that, as a child, we can't just go up to our adult family members and ask them questions. What do they tell us? Go one side and sit down, right?
Yes,
Don't fast into big people's business.
Yes.
Right? So, that's what really started my very first film, which was Aquan 2, The Journey.
Mm-hmm.
Watching shows on TV of people tracing their roots, especially this professor from Harvard, Skip Gates. I was intrigued by his presentations, and I said, you know what? Maybe this is something that that I can do. Take it up as a little pet project, so to speak. And a few years later, it turned into a full-fledged feature documentary on the Maroons of Jamaica, of which I'm a proud descendant.
Mm-hmm. And having done that, you obviously have not stopped there.
No.
With these 2 award-winning documentaries, because here you are now about to release African Redemption: The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey, to launch that to TV right here in Jamaica and across the diaspora. What's the backstory to this one?
Well, this is just a tease because the film actually was just completed within the last few weeks. So now we're showing it at film festivals around the world. Trinidad is where it had its world premiere, September 23rd. And, you know, being a proud son of the soil, you know, I wanted to make sure that Jamaica wasn't left out of these initial airings in these film festivals. So the film actually will not be, you know, released in Jamaica. You know, this is on the part of me and my wife. It's an altruistic gesture. We wanted to present to the people of Jamaica a chance for them to see what we did in the telling of the story of Marcus Messiah Garvey. So these airings over the Heroes Weekend, it's a one-off situation. It probably won't come back to the shores of Jamaica until it's officially released sometimes in 2022. So we have upcoming festivals in Los Angeles at the end of the month, and also another film festival in Toronto. But again, you know, as a proud Jamaican, you know, I'm honored to be part of the Heritage Week program put on by the Minister of Culture.
How was it putting together? Would you consider it to be routine, having done the two previous documentaries, which eventually won awards? How routine was this project, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey?
Dervan, let me tell you, there's nothing routine about this. It's number one, it's a labor of love, but a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and a lot of my own resources went into this. I don't think you want to know how much.
Wow!
It's a self-funded project, and I hope it doesn't sound like I'm complaining because I have absolutely no regrets.
No. We don't. We get the point you're making.
Yeah, but I just felt that this story had to be told, and the reason why is, you know, often the way that Marcus Garvey is presented, he's as a caricature, he's misrepresented, misconstrued, maligned, you name it. So basically, what I wanted to do was just correct that narrative, and in a nutshell, I wanted to vindicate the legacy of Marcus Garvey in telling the story, which I hoped people will enjoy, and they would find it educational and also balanced.
And in terms of the times, I'm seeing a schedule here that Sunday the 17th of August, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, part 1 on TVJ.
Yes.
And then Monday, which is Heroes Day, the 18th at 5:30 in the afternoon. So listeners, if you want to get a taste of this film, African Redemption: The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey, you can catch these essentially. Well, what would you call them? Not teasers. A little more than that.
Yes, a little more than teasers. It's getting the country a taste of the greatness of this man, and they'll just have to wait a little bit longer if they want to see it another time, sometime into 2022.
Yes. And listeners, it will also be on PBCJ, that's the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, on Monday the 18th, same National Heroes Day, 8 o'clock in the evening. So listeners, please make a note of it. Sunday the 17th of October, 5 o'clock in the afternoon on TVJ, Part 1, African Redemption: The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. Monday, Heroes Day, the 18th, 5:30 in the afternoon, Part 2 will be shown on TVJ. And then on at 8 o'clock in the evening on Heroes Day, you will see the work at 8 o'clock. Yes, I said that, 8 o'clock in the evening on Monday. So now with this, having who are the people who you were able to get together, the cast, and to make it as authentic as possible?
Well, I'll tell you, Dervan, there's an embarrassment of riches there when it comes to scholars and notable celebrities and world leaders. I'm sure everybody knows who Lou Gossett Jr. is and Danny Glover. That's all part of the celebrity quotient. And, you know, you have folks like Sean Paul, Chronix making cameos, Usain Bolt as well. But then when it gets down to the nitty gritty, you know, we got serious scholars like Sir Hilary Beckles that's in there, waxing eloquently as usual, and Professor Rupert Lewis, who had the opportunity to spend, I believe it was 7 years with Marcus Garvey's widow, Amy Jakes Garvey, as her research assistant. So what better place to go to learn more about Marcus Garvey
to the source
than to the source. And of course, you know, Professor Carolyn Cooper, and we got a rock star of a historian that's in it. Her name is Carolyn Anderson from Emory University. Did a book called White Rage. Everybody wants to talk to her, and she's all over TV. I mean, we have so much great people in this. You know, we're able to get some perspective from the late Prime Minister Edward Seaga.
Hold on, tell us some more, please, right after the break. Listeners, our guest is Roy T. Anderson, Jamaican-born, U.S.-based actor, stunt coordinator, writer, director, filmmaker, on his latest work, African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. More in a moment.
The glory, the kingdom goes to waste.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. The Caribbean Maritime University, an ISO certified institution, offers Bachelor of Science degrees in cruise shipping, logistics, engineering, marine tourism, port management, security administration, and management, among others. For further information, contact them 876-924-8150 or 924-8175 or email info@cmu.edu.jm.
Why, this lockdown, you see? Me miss me Sunday cleaner, you know.
So, Diane, you never know you could have get the Sunday Gleaner past Saturday.
Chef, what you saying to me?
Get your Sunday Gleaner this Saturday. Something for everyone. Seeking employment? Grab the Sunday Gleaner. Looking to buy and sell? Get the Sunday Gleaner. More features and new stories. The Sunday Gleaner. Available on Saturday at newsstands or your favorite vendors island-wide. For Sunday deliveries, call or WhatsApp 876-419-5077 or 876-412-3915.
Thank God Jeff tell me about this. Me nah leave supermarket and no buy me Sunday Gleaner.
The Gleaner, where life unfolds.
Within these set times.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm. Our guest is Roy T. Anderson, Jamaican-born, U.S.-based actor, stunt coordinator, stuntman, writer, director, filmmaker. He is the producer of 2 award-winning documentaries, Akwantu, The Journey, 2012, and Queen Nanny, Legendary Maroon Chieftainess. Those are just a couple of examples of his work and his current project, his current film, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. And so how would you describe the stage at which the work has reached now? Because you said you recently wrapped up filming.
Yes. Yes, we would say that the film is totally finished now. Post-production is complete, so we call that the final cut, and that's what the folks in Jamaica will be able to see in a week and a half. The final cut, which is 85 minutes in its entirety.
Ooh, that's a significant portion of time. That's what, an hour and 25 minutes.
Yes,
Yeah.
an hour and 25 minutes.
How did you decide how much of the story of Marcus Garvey to fit inside of 1 hour 25 minutes?
Dervan, let me tell you something. It was very, very difficult because the very first, what's the word now? Not the rough cut, but prior to the rough cut, the first cut was about 3 hours and 20 minutes.
Whoa.
Yes. Right? So you got to know that we interviewed over 100 people.
Goodness.
And I have, so that almost computes to, hours and hours and hours and hours of
You could run that as a series on Netflix or some other platform?
Absolutely. But I got to tell you that I'm thankful to have my wife as my producing partner because she's the whip. I can't fall in love with any.
Yes.
If it doesn't work, she'll tell me. So it went through different iterations, from the working cut to the rough cut to fine cut, now to the final cut, right?
Yes.
And I'm very, very happy with what I have. And it really hurt, to take out some of the footage and some of the speakers out of it. But I wanted the movie to move in a way that it's going to flow, that it's going to be able to hold the audience captive throughout, that there is never a dull moment, throughout the whole film because, as I said, I want to entertain people, but I want to also inspire them as well as they're going along and just finding out so much that they didn't know about this man, Marcus Mosiah Garvey.
Yes, indeed. And I see Anne Thornley Brown reminding us that the Honorable Olivia Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, has announced that Jamaican-born filmmaker Mr. Roy T. Anderson has kindly consented to the broadcast of African Redemption, and which is the life and legacy of Marcus Garvey, and she has shared the schedule here. So those of you listening and watching on Facebook Live as well as YouTube, on YouTube it's the Dervan Malcolm YouTube channel, and on Facebook, same name, Dervan Malcolm. You can look and you'll see the dates and the times of the airing of this powerful production. And so, what happens next with respect to the film Roy T. Anderson, with the work being done? What's the next step?
Well, we're going to let the film festival process play out.
So you're going to move from festival to festival?
Yeah, we're going to go from festival to festival, and then what we're hoping along the way is to attract distribution, buyers. So we create buzz about the film. We create the fact that people want to see this movie, and that's going to say to a television executive, hey, maybe we should talk to Roy's representative, to see how we can get this film on our platform. And also, too, most importantly, I want educators, administrators to keep an eye because this is something that can definitely assist, in the classroom. At the end of the day, we want this film to live on in the educational realm, after you and I have left this earth.
Yes, indeed. Well, you're securing quite a legacy already in terms of the body of work that you have done so far, but for the production, the film aside, for you personally, it's more work, continuing your work, or in as in your day job, so to speak, or looking at other Jamaican whether heroes or icons who you regard as worthy of being the subject of a film production?
It would be great if at some point I can refer to this aspect of my work more than just a vacation. But I have to be realistic.
Yes.
I have to continue my day job, and that's as a stuntman, because that's what helps to really fund
pay the bills.
What I do. And as we speak, I had to go for a COVID test today because I'm on set tomorrow on a show called The Equalizer with Queen Latifah. So
The
I'll be doing some
Equalizer, is that the
driving.
one with Denzel?
Well, Denzel did a feature film of that, but there's now a series on TV.
The series, that's what I'm talking.
Queen Latifah. Yes.
Oh, but this one is with Queen Latifah.
Yes, in the title character role. Yes.
Oh.
But I want to let it be known that I'm a gun for hire. I can't continue to do all these projects that is self-funded. So I know that folks are disappointed when they say that, when they read the headline that Roy Anderson is completing his trilogy. Well, it's just a break, because the trilogy is really about the resistance history of our people in this neck of the woods. And that's the thread that's throughout Aquantu, Queen Nanny, and now African Redemption. But no, I haven't put down my camera or my directing glasses. No, I want to be doing a lot more. And this has afforded me to meet some very, very interesting people all across the world.
Indeed,
And,
because I noticed that you filmed in Jamaica, Ghana, Canada, USA, UK, and Costa Rica.
Yes, and while filming in Ghana, I was able to interview Samia and Nkrumah at the final resting place of her father, Kwame Nkrumah.
Mm-hmm.
That was just an amazing experience, right? And here in America, I got to sit down across the table from a bona fide white supremacist, Jared Taylor. I wanted to get some perspective, because a lot of people don't know, in 1920, Marcus Garvey met with the head at the time of the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan in Atlanta.
I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. So that's covered in the film.
Oh.
I also had a conversation with Fred Hampton Jr., whose father was killed in 1969, some say assassinated. Fred Hampton was the deputy chairman of the Black Panther Party. So we have
some serious heavyweights.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying you managed to seek out some real heavyweights.
Yes, man. Ilyasa Shabazz, third daughter of Malcolm X, daughter of Dr. Betty Shabazz. The Lion of Harlem, Charles Rangel, retired U.S. Congressman. So we have some important and heavyweight personalities in this film. Miriam Samad, lifelong Garveyite.
Yes, indeed, I know her. Yes,
her parents met at the foot of Marcus Garvey, is what she told me.
I've heard that
in Harlem, and she said that Marcus Garvey visited her mom while she was in the hospital, pregnant with her.
Yeah.
So just the whole
the content is rich,
fulfilling.
Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely.
So listeners, make a note. African Redemption: The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey, airing on TVJ Heroes Weekend, starting on Sunday, the 17th of October, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when you'll be able to see part 1. And then on Monday, Heroes Day, Monday the 18th of October at 5:30 in the afternoon, part 2 of African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. And if you miss any of those, or you miss those two, PBCJ, the Public Broadcasting Corporation of Jamaica, will on Monday the 18th, Heroes Day, at 8 o'clock, have the full showing of African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. So, Roy T. Anderson, as we wrap, and I think you have, you perhaps have said enough for us to understand why you've done this, but what does this do for you, or do you not see it as being yours, but a gift for Jamaica and Jamaicans, and by extension the whole world, and indeed the African diaspora? What's the thinking? Because invariably it's your own resources that you're using. You don't get any funding from any major entities and partners to put this on. You are doing this on your own.
Well,
I mean, your wife, of course, is there as a supporting pillar. Sorry, go ahead.
Yes, yes. You know, the payoff for me is the satisfaction that I get, from seeing how people are inspired, by the film, how they are affected by the film, from top to bottom, leading scholars all the way down to school children. And if I can take a page out of Marcus Garvey's book, when he came to Harlem in 1916, W.E.B. Du Bois and other leaders of note at the time weren't able to attract the following that Marcus Garvey did. And what he said really resonated, with those folks.
Yes.
He reminded them of their proud history. And I often said that blacks in America has really got a raw deal. They got their history beaten out of them, literally and figuratively. And if I can say that it may not be physical today, but I mean that still continues. You must have heard the conversation around critical race theory here in America.
Yes.
Where they're studying systemic racism. Well, there's a certain subset of the population that only want some history to be overlooked.
Yes.
They don't want to look at the dark pages of history. But as Marcus Garvey says, you definitely, to know where you're going, you need to look back to see where you're coming from.
That's right.
He didn't exactly say it like that, but I'm just paraphrasing.
Understood.
Right?
Right.
So I want people to take from this film a sense of a pride, a sense of knowing where they came from. Right?
Yes.
That's what I'm hoping to achieve from this. So he came on the stage in 1916 and introduced...
Sorry, one moment, please. One moment.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock.
Under the law. Know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. Under the law.
Brought to you today by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Whether you're a small farmer, street vendor, big investor, every entrepreneur got to wise up about your money. You have to make sure say your money secure. When you need to grow, you have access to more.
Financial inclusion means that individuals and businesses have access to useful and affordable financial products and services that meet their needs.
Access to more money, more credit, whatever your business needs. When you work hard for your money must work for you.
You're Charlie full man. When can I come for dinner?
Gary, long time no see. No hug. Social distancing, remember? This is the first time I see you in a supermarket. You last year, were you?
Just picking up a couple items for the wife.
What direction are you going when you leave here?
If you'd like me to take you somewhere, no problem.
I need to send some money to my daughter in Atlanta. And I hear there's a new remittance company in New Kingston.
New remittance company in New Kingston?
Just opened the other day. A friend of mine tell me about it. As a matter of fact, him tell me it's easy to open a remittance business and plenty money in a remittances, boss.
It's not a free-for-all thing, Don. There is a licensing process for all locations offering remittance services. You need to find out if the one you're going to is on the Bank of Jamaica website, listing the licensed remittance locations. Next thing your daughter don't get the money.
I don't understand.
If the company is not licensed by BOJ, it is an illegal operation and the operator could be in plenty trouble. And instead of supporting that business, you should actually report them to BOJ. First, check the BOJ website, www.boj.org.jm, to see if it is a licensed remittance location.
No person shall carry on the business of offering money transfer and remittance services or operate a money transfer and remittance service business unless he has been licensed by BOJ. Any person who contravenes any provision of Part 4 or Part 4B of the Bank of Jamaica Act or fails to comply with any of the requirements commits an offense and on summary conviction in a parish court, formerly resident magistrate's court, is liable to a fine not exceeding $50,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 1 year or to both such fine and imprisonment, or on conviction before a circuit court, to a fine not exceeding $100,000 or to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 5 years or to both fine and imprisonment. That's how it is under the law.
Brought to you today by the Bank of Jamaica, building an inclusive economy.
Join us Wednesdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and 9:55 p.m. on Power 106 FM for Under the Law.
Power Talk on Power 106 FM, finding solutions to the challenges we face in a globalized world. Power Talk, taking talk radio to another level. Join Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays and Simon Croskill from Wednesday to Friday as they provide riveting analysis on the issues of the day and speak with stakeholders charged with driving innovation to move Jamaica forward. Tune in for innovative features designed to showcase local developments and highlight how the global issues of the 21st century are being addressed. That's the powerful pair, Dr. Herbert Gale and Simon Croskill on Power Talk, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. weekdays, right here on Power 106 FM.
Behind the rocks, while certain people give on the button.
Que ahora es en español, son las 4:05. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:05. 现在7点了，4点05分。5 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with another outstanding Jamaican of international repute, Roy T. Anderson. And as we've been reminding you throughout this interview, he's a Jamaican-born, U.S.-based actor, stunt coordinator, stuntman, writer, director, filmmaker, producer of 2 award-winning documentaries, Akwantu, The Journey, 2012, and Queen Nanny, Legendary Maroon Chieftainess, 2015. His latest work is African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey, and that will be shown on local television right here in Jamaica on Sunday, the 17th of October, 5 o'clock in the afternoon for part 1. Part 2 will air Monday, Heroes Day, the 18th of October, 5:30 p.m. And this is on TVJ. And then on Monday, also on Monday, the 18th of October, 8 o'clock in the evening, live on PBCJ, African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey. We're just about wrapping our conversation with Roy T. Anderson. 1916, going to the break, you took us back to 1916, Roy T. Anderson.
Yes, we're making up for lost time, Dervan.
Apparently.
Yes. 3 words. Pride in self is what I want people to take out of this film.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Marcus Garvey represented, you know, when he came to Harlem in 1916 on the stepladder.
Mm-hmm.
And when the folks were congregated in Harlem, he said, "You are a new Negro, not the one that's been, beaten down on the farms in the South and so forth." Mm-hmm. And folks, they rallied around him. So I'm not Marcus Garvey, but I just wanted to take a page out of his book, and that's what I want people to get from the film. when they see it. And what I want educators to know is that this film may not have covered everything,
Yes.
but what I did with this presentation is I laid the framework that allow others, with another level of expertise,
Yes.
to contribute and carry on the discussions, whether it's in primary or tertiary education levels.
And how can people follow your work, Roy T. Anderson, for those who'd like to connect online and to get some insights into you and your work and your activities? Is there a page, a website?
Well, we have an Instagram page, which is Marcus Garvey Movie,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a website, which is garveythemovie.com. I'm a very private person.
I realize that.
And I love my job as a stuntman. I get to stay behind the scenes and let the actors take the credit.
You're right.
I don't mind that.
You're
I don't
right.
mind that.
You're right.
So these sites, these social media sites, are all about my projects and not about me as an individual.
Understood. So those who would like to follow the work in particular, the film, give us that link again.
Marcus Garvey Movie. That's the Instagram handle. And the website is garveythemovie.com.
All right. Well, you continue to remain incognito
Yes.
with all the work that you do. But we're still very, very, very proud of you. We would have told you this the first time we engaged in a conversation of this nature. You are doing a remarkable job, especially the work of helping to chronicle and document and preserve Jamaican history, Jamaican heritage through people like Marcus Garvey. Well done.
Thank you.
Is there any individual, I mean, I know your wife for sure, but individual, institution, organization with whom you have interacted or engaged over the production of this film that, I know you can't call every single name, but in case there's such an individual, institution, organization that you'd like to specially mention since we're featuring the film.
Well, the first individual that I'd love to mention that this film would not have been possible without him is the great Keith David. People may not know who he is, but if they see his face and they hear his voice, they will know. Multiple Emmy Award-winning actor. Been in shows like Platoon, Crash, Greenleaf, but I would say his specialty is in the voice department. There's nobody any better than him in America. Nobody. And he chose to participate, in this film as a narrator and also a producing partner. So, mad respect for Keith David. And the musical end, David Hines. David Hines did not charge me a penny to license 2 of his songs, which we used in the opening and the closing credits. I can tell you, Dervan, that if I had to go the normal route to license those songs to play it in the position in the film that it is, it would cost more than $100,000 US.
Whoa!
Yes, yes.
That's quite magnanimous of him, too.
Yes,
yes.
And thanks also to Third World, which also contributed, to the soundtrack and didn't charge me a penny.
Oh, lovely. Not surprised there. Good afternoon to Stephen Catcore. He's one of our ardent listeners on this program.
Yes, I did approach other folks who shall remain nameless that chose not to participate. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, well, in any situation, you have winners and losers. That's all we'll say.
Yes.
So you continue to win and keep winning.
And I thank Dr. Julius Garvey, because the youngest son of Marcus Garvey, because he was the one that really spurred this thing in me to get this movie going. So if not for him, this film, wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
So thanks to Dr. Julius Garvey.
Well, once again, we thank you for your commitment, your stick-to-itiveness, your determination, your love for country and
Yes,
the people in general. Well done.
Give thanks to the Creator, and Dervan, it's an honor to be on your program once again. Let's not wait another 8 years.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Thank you for the reunion.
You're most welcome. You're most welcome.
Take care.
Have a great day.
You
All
too. Bye-bye. That's Roy T. Anderson, another outstanding Jamaican. Jamaican-born, US-based actor, stunt coordinator, stuntman, writer, director, filmmaker, producer of 2 award-winning documentaries, Aquan 2, The Journey, 2012, and Queen Nanny, Legendary Maroon Chieftainess, 2015. And now his latest project, the film African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Garvey, which will air on TVJ Sunday, the 17th of October, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, part 1. Part 2 will air at 5:30 p.m. Monday, National Heroes Day, the 18th of October. And if you miss those 2, you can catch the film in its entirety on Monday, Heroes Day, 8 o'clock in the evening on PBCJ, African Redemption, The Life and Legacy of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15. Are you an exporter, a micro, small, or medium-sized enterprise engaged in primary production or manufacturing? Do you want to learn more about the incentives available to the productive sectors? Then join the Jamaica Customs Agency and other entities for an online public forum on incentives and productive inputs relief on Thursday, October 14, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, under the theme Incentives and Productive Inputs Relief. Who stands to benefit? Log on at www.jacustoms.gov.jm to register and take your business to the next level. That's the Jamaica Customs Agency's CCC online series. Click, connect, and converse with Customs, October 14 from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. This is a forum you should not miss. Jamaica Customs, keeping our customers in focus.
Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to midday for your legal corner with Dahlia Walker Huntington during Power Talk on Power 106 FM. You can call our numbers 876-922-4112-5. The text and WhatsApp line is 876-279-8598. You can also send an email at yourlegalcorner106@gmail.com. Join Your Legal Corner for all matters in relation to immigration to the United States. Here Dahlia offer great legal advice on your immigration queries and concerns. Learn about the filing process, when to file, and how to prepare for the move. That's Your Legal Corner, 11:30 to midday, every Thursday right here on Power 106 FM.
The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the added danger of variants has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others. And on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. Brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up now. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. Cause time's getting traded.
As your kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we taste. I feel we own this grace, yeah. I feel we own this grace. Can't build no dream on a fuss and a fight. Me no care who I do it, just say that not right. And as we fight one another with the power and the glory, the kingdom goes to waste, and every drop of blood we take, I feel we own this grace, yeah. I feel we own this grace. Can't build no dream on a fuss and a fight. And as we fight one another for the power and the glory, the way see the people walk, just where we're going. Right now we hands are tied behind.
¿Qué hora es en espagnol? Son las 4:19. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:19. 现在TDN 了4点19分. 19 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable, education makes you trainable, training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Good afternoon to Norman Wright of Perishables Jamaica Limited, makers of tops and the Sipper Cuppa lines of teas. He says, your Garvey quote for the day: if we as a people realized the greatness from which we came, we would be less likely to disrespect ourselves. That's a powerful one. Thank you for sharing. Norman Wright, he says, good afternoon, Sir Dervan. I'm in the classroom. Good to have you on board, Norman Wright. All the very best to you and the team at Perishables Jamaica Limited. Patriotic Jamaican in New York has sent us another message. He says, Mr. Malcolm, I too benefited from the communist 70s. I, being from a family who could hardly afford it, was able to attend a tertiary institution free of cost, so I could make something of myself. I grabbed the opportunity with both hands, head and heart, and can now look back and say, thank God for the so-called communist 70s and the people responsible for it. Thank you very much for your message, Patriotic Jamaican. No doubt Miss Olive is coming to tell us about her education at, what's the name of the school again, Miss Olive? Good afternoon.
Central Branch and Kingston Tech.
All right. You said you said it with so much style, you know? I mean,
of course, the Central Branch, Kingston Tech. No, sir.
What's happening?
Dervan, catch up my memory here. When was Jamaica a communist country?
It is a situation, Miss Olive. And I'm being careful how I respond to this. It was a period in our history when the ideology war was on. A period of our history.
That's right, but we were never a communist country.
No. I mean, I hesitated to answer it because that would be like, in other words, like straight shooter or sharpshooter on Facebook, on YouTube was saying earlier on, how I didn't correct Jam Intel when he said it, because everybody knows.
That's right.
Everybody
It's him
knows.
where I call.
Yeah, but everybody.
It's him where I call.
Everybody knows Jam and Tell. Everybody
Please.
knows that the 70s, when you bring up, if you want to start controversy in Jamaica, just bring up the 70s. So I didn't have time for that this afternoon, quite frankly, to go there, because that could take days, right? So the 70s was quite a period in our history. And the ideological war, I mean, it was on. Let's face it. It came to a head in 1980, didn't it? A deadly head.
Right. Because I don't forget, Dervan. I don't know if I've spoken to you about it before. I don't want to keep up your time, because I'm not a long meter. But
you aren't, Miss Olive? I'm kidding.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead. I'm troubling you.
I don't forget the days when I used to go to John Wang supermarket in New Kingston, and you have to buy a certain amount of things before you get one can of milk.
So what caused that?
Milk. During the thing when Mr. Fiaga claimed that the Russian ship, they brought Russian ship or Cuban ship out in the port meeting, and when we were about to have an election.
So the Russian ship, the
Cuban ship or Russian ship
of the Cuban
was parked in the harbor waiting for Michael Manley to win the election to take over Jamaica.
Oh.
I don't forget.
And so
those
that
things,
resulted in the shortage of supplies in the supermarket?
Yes, the things, yes, and after the election.
How so?
Them hold back things to make it look bad on the PNP government.
Oh, who held back things?
Whoever, I don't know. The government, the opposition, whoever, the JLP, I don't know. I'm not sure.
And this was for what period of time?
But I don't remember the period.
I'm just asking you because you would have lived it, mind you. I was born in 1975.
Okay.
So
I cannot remember the thing, but I do remember the things that happened. The things that happened. You go to the supermarket, as I said before, and you have to buy a certain amount of things to get one can of milk.
No, I've done some reading, I just wanted to hear.
Yeah, and the cashier had the milk under the counter. So when you finish cash and thing, she take up the bag with the paper bag with the milk and put it on your stuff and add it to your thing. And they used to sell like saltfish with thing for score.
Yeah, they used to marry item.
Them married, yes, them used to married item. And a lot of things were held back. And after the election, a lot of things was dumped in the harbor. I don't forget those things, Dervan.
So who dumped those things at the harbor?
Whoever instigated that them hold back these things to show up the to win the election.
Oh.
Yes, I don't forget. Those days, Dervan, was terrible.
So you actually witnessed them throwing things in the harbor?
It was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it came on the news.
No.
If I'm not mistaken, that a lot of things was dumped in the harbor, like things with, I don't know, whole heap of stuff. We would normally sell off. Them hold it back. You understand me? And I remember my sister. That time my sister, she came to Jamaica, and we were living at Rumley at the time, and something happened, and this man run through the thing and jump over our fence because they was going after him. A whole lot of things was happening in them between the 70s and the 80s, Dervan. But I cannot see Michael Manley didn't even know the first thing about being a communist. He had the idea of a democratic socialism.
What's that?
That's what they call it then, the democratic socialism, meaning that you everybody, the rich and the poor, the rich don't get everything. The poor people get a little bit, and the middle class and the rich people, everybody. And schools, as I remember, technical, the certain schools you couldn't go. He changed all of that.
Really? Schools like schools like Wolmer's that was established in the 1700s.
That's right. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Yes, because it depends on where you live. I wanted to go to St. George's
because
school.
No, I asked the question because I've read the wills of those the wills that led to that signal the establishment of the schools. So like the John Woolmer's will with respect to Woolmer's, Thomas Manning's will, the Martin Rousset will, that's the man who left money in his will to set up Rossies, and all of the people who left money in their wills to found schools, they spoke of the schools for the masses, for the children of the slaves.
That's what they wanted. But the people who were responsible for the different schools, St. George's Girls' School, because I used to, as I said, Rum Lane, and St. George's is down out at Duke Street. I could walk to school. And R.O.C. King, who was the director for St. George's Church, gave my mother a letter to take to the principal. And she did that. She said, "But I don't have no space." When it's like she telling, that is why I ended up going to Central Branch.
Got you. You'll have to tell us complete the story perhaps tomorrow, all things being well, Miss Olive, because we have diaspora check-in coming up at 4:30.
Okay, I figured that. I didn't want to hold you up. Okay, yes. Dervan. Okay,
thanks.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And as we fight one another.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. It's the show that engages you with stimulating and intriguing discussions to spice up your night. It's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas, Mondays to Thursdays from 10 p.m. until midnight.
Hello.
Hello, Pastor.
Yes.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, you may ask me a question. I may or may not answer.
Hear pertinent advice and share your thoughts on topical issues, relationship matters. Get the answers you need for your burning questions. It all comes together on Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas.
Look like she did love me to me. But me still, there's she pushed me out, so do my best anyway.
That's Dear Pastor with Reverend Dr. Aaron Dumas, keeping your company Mondays to Thursdays from 10 p.m. till midnight, right here on Power 106 FM.
The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the added danger of variants has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others, and on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. Brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up now. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. customs getting traded. Just said, don't you worry.
Diaspora check-in during both sides of the story is brought to you by GK Western Union. Receive money directly into your bank account today.
Of possibility and changeability.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5:27. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5:27. 现在几点了？5点加27分。27 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to check in with our guests on today's edition of Diaspora Check-In here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. And we are happy to have joining us at this time the president of the St. Elizabeth Technical High School Alumni Association and also vice president of the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, UJA, Mr. Donovan Wilson. Good afternoon, Mr. President. How are you? Oops. Is that, hello?
Dervan.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
I am good. Thanks for having me on again. It seems like every time I talk to you, there are even more exciting things to talk about.
And that is a good thing. Wonderful. Good. Also joining us is the principal of St. Elizabeth Technical High School, Stets, who is also you see, because we haven't had many sporting activities now, watch it now. President of ISA, Mr. Keith Wellington. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Dervan. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Donovan. Good afternoon to your listeners.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, if you'll allow me to go there straight away, Keith Wellington, any schoolboy football?
We are hopeful. We have submitted a proposal to the government. So they will review and respond to us. The intentions are to see if we can get at least 5 or 6 weeks before the end of the year. So we are hopeful. And we're happy with the signs we're seeing in terms of improvement over the last week or so with the positivity rate.
Good. And Donovan Wilson, can you give us some background on Stets alumni in New York? Is that just for New York? Or do you represent past students in the entire United States of America?
So that's the first thing I always like to set the record straight about, right?
Yes.
The name of our organization is Stets Alumni Association USA Incorporated, right?
Oh.
And we have been busy working to make it become a global brand. So while it's based in the U.S., headquartered in New York, you can actually join our association no matter where in the world you're located.
Good. And Principal Wellington, how the last, where are we now, about 19, as far as your school is concerned, Stets?
Like most other institutions, we have had our challenges. I think that we have done fairly well in attempting to overcome these challenges, but we continue to be concerned about the difficulties that our student population and indeed our teachers are having with coping with the extended run that have at online classes. We understand the value of technology and the value of online classes, but I think that the extended run is causing a little bit of a headache for most persons. And we are just, really, really hopeful that we will see face-to-face school resume in some shape or form very, very soon. But I think we have been able to cope. We have gotten a lot of support from persons like our alumni associations corporate Jamaica. And so we have been able to ensure that our students have the opportunity to do well. The challenge that we have is that not all of them have taken that opportunities as we would like. There are still some students who, because of the lack of supervision from parents at home, they are not making use of the opportunities. And so, we really want to see our students in the physical space again. And as you know, Dervan, education is not just about academics, it's also about socialization. And I think our kids, our 12, 13, 14-year-olds in particular, I think that is something that they are missing out on.
Oh, yes. Big time, big time. All right, hold it there. We'll come back to you in a moment. Keith Wellington. Donovan Wilson, as president of the STETS Alumni Association, USA, Inc., how have you responded during this pandemic to the needs of your alma mater?
Well, I think one of the first things that we did when COVID came along, there was a teacher at the school who undertook a program to provide food packages, I believe it was, to folks from within her class who were in need of, assistance. And the idea started out with just assisting students from her class. But from what I'm told, before you knew it, there were people from other classes reaching out, and even some people from the community, I believe, who were reaching out. And we got wind of this and certainly came in, and our alumni here did their part, and we made, a contribution towards that effort so that it could be ongoing. In addition to that, UJA had a program in place to provide tablets and laptops to various schools. And I must say that the UJA program actually came out of a conversation between myself and Mr. Wellington, where Mr. Wellington was trying to come up with a way to streamline the process, if you will, of securing devices for the various schools. And when that kind of fell through, UJA decided to work with our member organizations to do the same. So we were able to contribute some devices to our school. And, certainly we hope to continue to assist in whatever way we can. Our organization has 2 scholarships. There is the John Pottinger Scholarship, named after one of the beloved principal of the school. And there's also the Watson Grant, which is named after another principal. And we have funded these for years. And while students are not in school now, one of the things Mr. Wellington said is that this time more than ever, rather than cutting back on the level of funding, we should at least maintain the level of funding because the needs are great. Mm-hmm. And we've continued to fund those awards, and will fund this year's edition of both awards.
And how would you say, Keith Wellington, the support from the STETS Alumni Association, USA, Inc., has impacted the student body, meaning providing certain resources, certain tools, the extent to which those tools made a difference in the lives of, and perhaps is still the gift that keeps on giving, making a difference in the lives of your students at STETS?
Certainly a tremendous effort, not just over the last 18 months or so, but certainly over the last 25 years. We are a relatively young school, just celebrating our 60th anniversary now. But the bond between our students, those present and past, has been really strong, and the love for the school is there. And I think that familial relationship that we create at STETS extends beyond the years that students spend here. And so while Alumni Association, they are a critical stakeholder and have been very, very instrumental in helping a lot of our students during the last 18 months. You know that the government has a laptop program for students, but that is for students who are on path. And as a matter of fact, it was only for grade 10 and 11 students. So we had to find ways of ensuring that we could help other students. And we, as Donovan said, we had a conversation, and somehow we were able to get our past students to make contributions that not only with the tablets themselves, but a financial contribution, so that we could provide assistance both in terms of technology and other care packages, as Donovan mentioned. We spent I think over $3 million providing care packages for families during the first 4 months of the pandemic, because the fallout was significant at that time, with a lot of children having to stay home, parents actually not losing their jobs in that period as well. So the support, I think, has been tremendous, and as we celebrate our 60th anniversary, we would want to recognize them and ask our students to come on board, join up with the different associations, so that they can offer their little bit to make life easier for our students.
It sounds like a time for grand celebration, but obviously COVID-19 and all, you can't necessarily have the kind of celebration that you'd want to have, Donovan Wilson. But how is your association sort of actualizing this 25th anniversary celebration? How are you marking 25 years of your association?
And Dervan, I must say that Keith opened the door when he mentioned the 25 years for me to get down to what we really want to get out to folks today. Mm-hmm. So the New York Alumni Group has been around for 25 years. Mm-hmm. But more significantly, STETS was actually started back in 1961. So that makes 60 years for STETS this year.
Yes.
I am told that whereas many schools actually started in September, the school was not quite ready in September. It's actually October 10th. We'll be having a church service on the 10th of October this year.
Hold on, don't move. Let's talk about the church service and other activities as STETS, St. Elizabeth Technical High School, celebrates 60 years of contributing to the education system here in Jamaica, and I dare say the world, and 25 years of their alumni association. A lot to celebrate, even in these COVID-19 times.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Let's face it, these haven't been the best of times, but aren't the worst of times either. At COK, we recognize that some of our members are finding it challenging navigating the new normal. But that's why we have initiated the COK Debt Amnesty. If you're having difficulties repaying your loans, come in, talk with us. Get a waiver of up to 100% of the penalties due. Call 764-1509 or email amnesty@cokcu.com. Conditions apply.
Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. to midday for your legal corner with Delia Walker Huntington during Power Talk on Power 106 FM. You can call our numbers 876-922-4112-5. The text and WhatsApp line is 876-279-8598. You can also send an email at yourlegalcorner106@gmail.com. Join Your Legal Corner for all matters in relation to immigration to the United States. Here Dahlia offer great legal advice on your immigration queries and concerns. Learn about the filing process, when to file, and how to prepare for the move. That's Your Legal Corner, 11:30 to midday, every Thursday right here on Power 106 FM.
The following is a public service announcement from Power 106 FM. Jamaica. Each wave of the COVID-19 pandemic with the added danger of variants has brought unprecedented pressure on public resources. Our hospitals and healthcare workers at breaking point. Our economy battered, families in mourning, and our children face an uncertain future due to learning loss. In this race against COVID-19, we must stay in it to win it. We must continue using techniques that can help to beat the virus. Follow COVID-19 mitigation measures, including wearing masks, sanitizing, 6 feet of physical distance from others, and on this leg of our relay, we can win with vaccination. These safe and proven vaccines can make the difference against COVID-19. And now that vaccines are in supply, let's get vaccinated so we can get back on track and keep winning. The finish line against COVID-19 is in sight. And with true Jamaican determination, we can all have the victory. brought to you by your friends at Power 106 FM.
So we ain't giving up, no. We put up a fight. We got to be ready. The storm's getting treated. Just then, don't you worry.
¿Qué hora es en espagnol? Son las 5 menos 12. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5 heures moins 12. 现在几点了？5点差12分。12 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Well, we can tell you since the 110 students who started school at St. Elizabeth Technical High School, STETS, on the 10th of October, 1961, they have been super productive at STETS in terms of turning out men and women of distinction who continue to serve not just here in Jamaica, but all over the world. And we salute them as they celebrate 60 years this year, and also their alumni association, the STETS Alumni Association USA Inc., celebrating 25 years. And we were about to get the details on the form that the celebrations will take, especially considering that we're operating in a time of COVID-19. And so Donovan Wilson, president of STETS Alumni Association USA Inc., who's also vice president of UJA, the Union of Jamaican Alumni Associations, was about to give us the details on the celebratory events. Mr. Wilson, back to you.
Dervan. So this Sunday at 11 a.m. Jamaica time, 12 noon here in the U.S., we will be having a virtual church service, right? The minister for the service, Dr. Robert Wright, who's actually a 1982 graduate at STETS, and Mr. Wellington can speak to his connection with NCU as well. He will be delivering the sermon on that day. With people who would like to view this can take part via our YouTube channel, as well as via Facebook and so on. But we are reaching out to past students from all over to please join in this Sunday as we kick off the 60th anniversary celebrations with this event. As I said, I'll defer to Keith to say more about that. But I also want to mention that traditionally, the Alumni Association has had a dinner dance every year around the second Saturday in October. This year, because of COVID, we had to push that event back. It's going to be held on the 23rd of October. It's going to be a virtual dinner dance. Yes, you heard that right. It will be a virtual dinner dance. So you're going to have your own food and drink at home.
That sounds like fun.
All the speeches, all the honorees. We have an event team which is putting together a program that people will not want to miss. And what we're asking people to do in order to be a part of this celebration is to contribute $60 in honor of STETS 60th anniversary, because we would like to make a significant contribution back to the school. We have a team
go ahead.
Headed by Dr. Cecil Wright here in New York, and a group of people from the 90s who've been working to pull people together from all year groups. You know, I can tell you that due to the efforts of this team, the New York Association has grown from just about 40 members up to 140 members, and that has occurred in the time of COVID. You know, so we continue to add new members, but the key thing is we're calling on all past students to register for this event, contribute $60 in this the 60th year of STETS,
in order to help us to make a significant contribution to the school this year. On that note, I would like to ask Mr. Wellington to just tell us more about how people can join the service and, just give us a flavor of what's happening down there at Tech, because I certainly am looking forward to it as well.
Mr. Wellington?
Yes. So as you said, the church service will be this Sunday, 11 a.m. Jamaica time, 12 midday Eastern Standard Time. And because it's virtual, it means that everyone can join in from wherever they are. We will be broadcasting via our YouTube channel, which is Steps Online.
Oh, that's what I wanted to know. How do we find you on YouTube? So just type in YouTube in the search box, Stets Online.
Steps Online, right? Steps Online. The same thing for Facebook. It's Steps Online as well.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll broadcast via both mediums.
Yeah.
We'll also have a live radio broadcast. I won't say where.
No, man, you can. This is a different type of program, man. Go ahead.
Right. So it will be on NCU FM. That's 91.1, 91.3, or 91.5.
That's great.
In Jamaica,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what we are hoping to do is right after the live broadcast, we will open our Zoom platform to allow for interaction, socialization after the church service for a few minutes. So wherever persons are, wherever in the world, you may just see someone that you have not seen or heard from in ages. You'll get the opportunity to see them and talk with them on our Zoom platform. So we're hoping that it will be really, really a great start to the 60th anniversary celebration. As a school, we believe that invoking the presence of God is always important.
Amen.
And therefore, we want to do that to start the celebration, which will be a year-long celebration. Dervan, we'll have a number of events throughout the year, but those formats will be dependent on what happens with COVID.
Yeah.
But we're really hoping that by the time we get to June 2022, we'll have a big reunion where people can be physically present at Steps to celebrate that the end of that 60th anniversary.
Yes, and there's a call by the opposition spokesperson on education for face-to-face classes to resume. What do you think?
Well, I think it's not just what I think. The general consensus amongst not just the state teachers or students, but the population, the education sector, is that we need to get back to face-to-face classes. I heard the JTA saying that, boy, they really hope that high school students could get back in this month. For us, Dervan, we think we have done exceptionally well over the last 18 months. We have used every opportunity to get our students back in the physical space. So right throughout the year, we had occasions where our students were attending classes in a controlled manner. We actually had buses running right around the parish so that students didn't have to take public transportation. And it worked well. We had no cases right up until the end of the school year in June. And we had occasions where we had 600, 700 students on campus on any given day.
Impressive.
But we really worked well with our students and parents, and they understood the value of following the protocols and doing what was expected to stay safe. And we're happy for that, and so we're confident that should we be given the opportunity, we would be able to have school face-to-face classes safely.
Excellent news. Donovan Wilson, you are coming in. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just, as Mr. Wellington talks about the things that STETS has done in this COVID time to prepare us for a time when we return to school. I sit back and I reflect on the history of the school, and I reflect on how well our alumni members have done. And I cannot help mentioning a couple of things, Dervan, that you might not even be aware of, right?
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that I want to note is, were you aware that our current Minister of Tourism is actually a STETS old boy?
I had no idea. I thought he was from St. James.
No, he's actually a STETS old boy. I can also tell you that the current president of the JTA is a STETS old boy.
Oh dear, STETS is taking over.
I can tell you that this year on the Jamaica Olympic team, we actually had 6 past students of STETS, perhaps the most from any one school that was a part of that Olympic team, right? I can also tell you that as a school, people know us for how well we've done in sports, right?
Yes.
But when you look in every facet of life in Jamaica, you can invariably find a Stet's old boy, right? You know, if you think back to the University of West Indies, the then vice chancellor of the university, Professor Alvin Wint, was a Stet's old boy. And here in the U.S., you can find Stet's past students in almost every facet of life. Not bad for a school that's only 60 years old, right?
Well, not bad at all. Very well. You're doing very well. In fact, we would be happy to continue to feature the various activities, events, individuals over the 60th anniversary in the case of the school, and 25 in the case of the Past Students Association for the whole year. Quite frankly, from now until next year, all things being well.
Dervan, you know, you're always welcome in Santa Cruz, and we are going to ensure that you spend a day out of one of the 365 days of the 60th anniversary with us. We are going to ensure that it happens.
I hope so. I have fond memories of broadcasting from Stet's. Last time I was there was a homecoming, St. Elizabeth homecoming. Yes. We did a broadcast there. Speaking of broadcast, so listeners, check out NCU FM 91.1 on Sunday the 10th of October. That's the actual date marking the start of this noble institution, Stet's. It all started on the 10th of October, 1961. And so you can listen for the service on NCU FM. They'll be broadcasting live. You can also watch on Stet's Online, the online channel, YouTube channel of Stet's. It's Stet's Online. It will be live on Facebook as well. Stet's Online. Spread the word. Cause it to go viral so that Stet's past students and Stet's family all across the globe will log on and be a part of the experience. It's been our pleasure having you both on the program. See, we're getting into trouble now, Stet's, because we're almost out of time, but anything for Stet's. Thank you both so much. We have to go. It's been a pleasure. All the best. Keith Wellington, principal of Stet's, also president of ISA. Donovan Wilson, president of Stet's Alumni New York, Stet's Alumni Association, USA, Inc., and also vice president of UJA. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Diaspora Check-In during both sides of the story was brought to you by GK Western Union. Receive money directly into your bank account today.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Good afternoon, I am Dervan Gordon. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines, today, Wednesday, October 6, 2021. Private security companies to provide close protection services to some public officials, freeing up police personnel for crime fighting. Police received CCTV footage relating to the party former Agriculture Minister Fred Green attended on No Movement Day. Health Minister's reporting of vaccination numbers comes under scrutiny. Private sector groups urge the government to begin instituting vaccine requirements for public sector workers. In business news, gas prices going up tomorrow. The discussion segment of Beyond the Headlines with Dion Jackson Miller comes up after this newscast. The news segment of Beyond the Headlines is brought to you by Flow. Take control of your future with free beginners or advanced courses. Register at flowfoundationja.org.